Hello from day 4 of my Project Me retreat. This is my home retreat. I highly recommend it. I'm going to give you some tips on creating your own home retreat. Yours doesn't necessarily have to be a whole week long like mine is. If that's unfeasible for you, I'm going to give you some tips on how to make it happen for yourself in whatever time you've got. So for me, I first got the idea last April during heavy London lockdown. I was meant to be going to Ibiza for this Kundalini yoga retreat that I'd gotten as a Christmas present that I was so excited about, and it got postponed until October. And so back last April, I decided that, okay, I'm not going to be away, but I'm going to take this week off of work anyway. And I told my family I would have been away this week, so why don't you just pretend I'm not here? And I took myself to our guest bedroom and basically had the best week. I could have never imagined that I would have such an amazing week just on my own, just doing all the stuff that I never really have time for. And it was incredible. So retreat was postponed until October, and you guessed it, it's been postponed again now until May. And so I decided I'm taking this week that I would have been in Ibiza off again. This time I'm up in my son Max's old room, up in our loft extension. I've got all my stuff out here on the bed. I'll show you some of that stuff. And it's a really nice and light space. Actually, Max saw me post something on Instagram calling it his old room, and he did point out it's still my room. So yes, Max, you may be off university. Both of my kids are university students now, but it's still your room. But for this week, it's mine, all mine. So yeah, this week I have basically... This is day 4, so things are getting a little bit messy here. But I've got my my essential oils kit out, and every day I'm kind of referring to my essential oils and emotions book and pulling out different essential oils to infuse into my week. There's an ensuite bathroom here, so anytime I want to just go and have a Himalayan salt bath with essential oils, I just head over there, which is really lovely. And I have been pulling a card every day from my book. Lovely book. Where's the cover of this book? It's called Aroma Cards, and they match up with the essential oils. I got this from Jan, one of my Project We members. Hi Jan. And every day I pull a card from here, and today's was I recognize my self-worth and step into my power with love, grace, and ease, which is so beautiful. And I paired that up with bergamot. And I also pull a card from my Osho Zen Tarot deck every morning to decide what my kind of theme is going to be. And I'm actually going to do myself a proper layout after this, which I'm excited about. And what else? I've got my coloring pencils. They're brand new. I got them from Paper Chase, and I love them because they're double-ended and in really bright colors. And so I've got my coloring book out here. Thank you, Vicky, for my coloring book. I love it. And I colored in, did some coloring in during a meditation, one of my Dakota Earth Cloud Walker meditations. Did some coloring in like while I meditated. What else? Gosh, I have just got my journal out, and my Tibetan singing bowl, my incense and all this. I'm just like really pretending that I'm in Ibiza at an actual yoga retreat. Got my Kundalini yoga mat there. So yeah, having an amazing time. I've pulled out my High Vibe Journey workbook. So this is my High Vibe Journey program that I created, this workbook for all the women who've done my program. But I like to just print out fresh pages of it and ask myself the questions again at different points. So because I created this program last January, it's now October and I'm in like a different place. So I'm actually answering the questions from a different heart space right now. And this is the workbook from my Next Level Higher program, which the women have just finished that one, and I'm working on this workbook as well. I love fill in the blank stuff where you just get to answer questions on paper about your life and how you feel about things and stuff. And so it's kind of amazing that I can create these tools for other people, and I get just as much out of it myself. High Vibe Journey, by the way, if you're not on my mailing list and if you haven't heard, starting again on November 2nd. And this is the last time I'm going to be running this program this year. And I'm not sure when in the new year I'm going to be able to run it for reasons that I will go into in a separate video. Exciting stuff happening in the new year. So really, if you've been hanging on, like thinking is now the time, like now is the time. It's my 4-week program that teaches you how to raise your vibrational frequency and just be living your life in a completely different way if you're getting caught up in kind of the collective negativity and worries and things like that that are happening in the world right now. It's a way to like rise above that in a really beautiful way. At the very beginning of the week, because here goes into my tips. All right, so I really suggest, if you're going to do something like this, that first of all you look at how much time you feasibly have. Now, I really did have a whole week last April because my husband was working from home and I've got older kids. And I can obviously do it again right now. Oops, low power mode going on here. I can obviously do it again right now because I've got the whole house to myself. So a whole week for me is feasible. If that's not feasible for you, what about a weekend? Is it possible for you to ask for what you need, if you need support, and say that I would really love to give myself a home retreat, and you can tell them you got the idea from me, and see if you could possibly have a whole weekend. If not a whole weekend, what about a Saturday or a Sunday? Or if you work and you've got kids at school, what about taking a midweek day off and just working while the kids are retreating while the kids are at school? Don't think this is an all or nothing thing. It isn't that if you haven't got a whole week that it's just not worth it, because I really believe that if you gave yourself even a few hours, you would love it. You know, what I mean is like switching off from everything that you would normally be doing and doing things just for you. Now I realize that my idea of a retreat is pretty woo-woo. Like, I mean, I love all my meditations and my journaling and my essential oils and all that kind of stuff that just really lights me up. So you would need to, figure out for yourself. So I like to use one of these blank Project Me planners. You can get this on myprojectme.com/action sheets, or go to the action sheets tab at myprojectme.com. There, if you scroll down to the bottom of the action sheets, there's this seemingly innocent one that just has a bunch of blank bubbles on it. And it sounds crazy, but printing one of these out for anything that you want and calling it whatever you want at the top and then filling in the boxes, it's amazing what happens when you do that. So I printed one out that was called October 2020 Home Retreat, and I just started brain dumping ideas into these boxes of things that I wanted to do this week. And it's just great to be able to like turn to it and refer to it and go, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that chakra integration movement dance thing now that I always want to do, and I never have 40 minutes to do it, and now I can do it. So, for you, write down different things. I've got nature and outdoors too. I have been getting outside. I've got my exercise and healthy foods and things like that. So, brainstorm ideas of what you will do if you had a week, if you had a weekend, if you had one day, if you had an hour, okay? And if you only have an hour, you could brain dump little boxes, and then you could just do little 1-hour pockets on different days. There's an idea for you. So I hope it inspires you. It is so important that we have time for ourselves, like just incredibly important. It gets us in close touch with ourselves and gets us out of our normal autopilot mode. And in this space, you're able to really connect with yourself on a deeper level that we don't often enough give ourselves time to do. I've got so many tools at myprojectme.com, so if you are thinking to yourself, I don't even know what I would do if I had some time off, because I know some people are like that. Like for me, I'm a kid in a candy store, but for other people, they might be like, I don't even know what I would do. Go to myprojectme.com, go to the Action Sheets tab, get the Project Me Life Wheel tool, because that could just be a fun exercise to do on itself, is to do your like life wheel assessment. That's just a free download that I have. And there's one called Me Time. Print out the Me Time action sheet that gives you prompts to figure out what you would do if you had some time to yourself. And there's loads of blog posts and things like that with lots of inspiration too. So I hope this has inspired you. If you've listened to my podcast this week, you will find out what happened to me on day 1 of my retreat on Monday of this week. I mean, on day 1, by just having some time to myself to just drift into whatever felt good. I ended up having a really, really profound series of events that happened having to do with finding my birth father. If you've not listened to my podcast episode, I just loaded it up yesterday. Project Me podcast. It's in all the usual podcast places, and it's also on my website in the podcast section. So have a listen to what happened to me on day one of my retreat. If you haven't yet, it's quite a story. Okay, I'm going to leave you to it, and I'm going to leave myself to it. I'm going to do a meditation now and my chakra integration dance movement thing. And I would love to hear from you in the comments underneath what you would do if you had your own home retreat. And let me know how long you think that you would feasibly be able to have it, and what would be your dream, and what would be your kind of practical, all right? I want to hear from you. Lots of love.